The Boys Season 5 is coming to an end pretty fast, and boys and girls, we only have 2 episodes left. But the crazy part is, even though we are so close to the finale, there are still so many crucial scenes from the trailer that we have not yet seen. And now that episode 6 finally gave us one of the biggest scenes we have all been waiting for, which was Homelander taking V1 and shooting that insane power upgrade into the sky with his laser beams. But now I think we all know what comes next. Total and absolute chaos. Because that scene was not just Homelander getting a power boost, that was basically the show telling us, okay, the final boss has officially entered his final form. Homelander was already the most dangerous person on the planet before this, but now that he has V1 in his system, that changes absolutely everything. This is not just regular Homelander anymore. It's kind of like Homelander just started a roid cycle. He used to deadlift like 675 when he was natty, but now that he's on roids, sheesh, brother. And that is what makes these last 2 episodes so terrifying, because every single trailer shot we have not seen yet is probably showing the aftermath of what Homelander becomes after taking V1. So today I want to go through all of these remaining trailer scenes and talk about what they could mean, because I think these are the scenes that will show us Homelander's horrific acts and how the boys would even attempt to deal with someone who might genuinely be unstoppable now. The first major scene we still have not seen yet, and that's only available in the trailer, is Frenchie cooking up something. And when I say cooking up something, I mean literally cooking up something that looks like it has to do with electricity, power, energy, or just some kind of weaponized experiments. Frenchie is also wearing goggles to protect his eyes, which tells us whatever he is doing is dangerous already. And whenever Frenchie is in lab mode this late in the season, you already know it's not just some random side project. This means it has to be something huge. Now, the biggest theory going around is that this could be the scene where someone from the boys gets Soldier Boy's powers. And I know when you hear that, it sounds absolutely ridiculous. It's like one of those TikTok theories where somebody just throws something crazy at the wall and hopes it sticks. But honestly, the more you think about it, the more you can kind of see where people are coming from, because dude, at this point, how else are they even going to beat Homelander? Like, there's genuinely no way. They physically can't beat him head on. Like, they could not beat regular Homelander head on, so they definitely cannot beat V1 Homelander at all. Also, the soup killing virus will 100% not work on him either, because it has already been shown that V1 users are immune to the virus. So that just removes one of the biggest weapons the boys had left to kill Homelander in the first place. So now they're literally back to square one. So that only leaves one real option. They need to depower him. And who is the one person who can depower soups? Soldier Boy. The problem is Soldier Boy is now on Homelander's side 100%. And I really do mean like 100%, because if Soldier Boy was not fully on board, he would have never given Homelander V1. Like, he gave Homelander immortality. Like, he gave him the one thing that makes him even harder to kill than he already was. So the idea that Soldier Boy is going to turn around and help the boys stop him feels kind of unlucky, because if he does, then he's going to be the dumbest idiot of all time. Because how do you just give someone the power of a lifetime, then the next episode you're like, oh wait, actually never mind, I kind of want to kill him. So if Soldier Boy will not help him, maybe the only option is to replicate what Soldier Boy can do. And this is where Sister Sage comes into play. Now that Sister Sage is seemingly on the boys' side after what we've seen at the end of episode 6, or at least against Homelander for her own reasons, it makes sense that she would try to come up with the one thing that could counter him. We saw at the beginning of episode 6 that she has been trying to replicate V1. So if she's been studying that formula and studying what makes it so powerful, then maybe she also understands what can reverse it. And if she knows Soldier Boy's blast is the only proven thing that can strip powers away, then it makes perfect sense that she would try to replicate it. Because I do not think the boys are going to win by becoming stronger than Homelander. I think they are going to win by finding the one technical weakness in his upgrade. And Frenchie being the one to build it would make sense. Frenchie has always been the guy who can take some insane ideas and make them real. So if Sage gives him the theory, Frenchie might be the one who has to actually make it work. Now, moving on to the next scene, we have Homelander just sitting there or leaning over, or I don't really know what he's doing, but he's plotting while looking at the statue of himself. Now, this is such a Homelander scene because it says everything without him even having to speak. He is literally staring at a monument of himself. And after taking V1, I think this scene might be the morning after when he wakes up and he realizes, wait, dude, I'm stronger than ever. Nobody can stop me at all. So when he is looking at that statue, statue, I think he is imagining what the world would look like if he became the god of the world and everyone bowed before him. And after that, I think that is when he decides, it's time to turn that fantasy into reality. And that could directly lead into him killing a lot of innocent people. Or maybe even trying to kill the Prezi. Because if Homelander wants to prove he can do whatever he wants, killing the Prezi would be the biggest statement possible. It would not just be an attack. It would tell the entire country, dude, your government cannot protect you and your leaders do not matter anymore. I am the power now. And that leads perfectly into the next scene, which Homelander is walking up the stairs. Now, I swear, the amount of times I have seen this picture, I couldn't even count on one hand. It really is just such a simple shot. It literally is just Homelander walking upstairs in slow motion. Like, I have no idea why they decided to put that in the trailer. It kind of made no sense, but the fact that it was put in the main trailer makes me think it has to mean something, right? Because trailers usually do not throw in random dramatic shots for no reason, especially when we are this close to the end. Now, the obvious theory is that he is walking up the steps into the White House, and honestly, might be the most logical option because we've already seen other images of him sitting in the Oval Office, so maybe this is the lead up to that moment. But at the same time, it almost feels too obvious, because if they already gave us the money shot of Homelander sitting in the Oval Office, why also include this random slow motion stare shot? Why focus on that moment specifically, unless the stairs maybe represent something bigger? And this is where my theory comes into play. What if this is not just Homelander walking into the White House? What if this is Homelander walking up to a podium or some kind of public platform where he is about to reveal himself as the new god or the new leader of America? Think back to that scene where he imagined lasering everyone in the crowd. That was one of the earliest looks we got at what Homelander really wants to do deep down. He wants to stop being polite to people he sees as insects. And now that he has V1, what is stopping him from doing exactly just that? So what if this stare shot is the moment Homelander wins it all? And I know that sounds crazy, but I genuinely think Homelander could win. I don't know, that's kind of just the vibe I'm getting now. I used to have this theory that maybe Homelander will lose his powers, but if they got Soldier Boy's blast, they would need to hit him 2 times now. Once for the V1 to take the V1 out, and then a second time to, actually make him become human. Now, the next trailer scene is Marie. And this one is really interesting because it is very short. From the looks of it, it seems like Marie might only make a cameo in episode 7 just to introduce herself. Then maybe she plays a bigger role in episode 8. Because if the boys are desperate, they are going to need some outside help. And Marie is one of the few soups who could actually be a threat to Homelander. At least in theory. Her power is blood manipulation, and that is insanely overpowered if the show lets her use it correctly. She does not need to actually fight Homelander to beat him. Her power is, internal. She can affect the blood inside someone's body, and that means she could potentially do things that most soups cannot defend against. So the big theory is this: what if Marie can remove V1 from Homelander's bloodstream? That would be a really smart way to use her. If V1 is in his blood and Marie can manipulate blood, then maybe she could, clot it or somehow make his body reject it. But unfortunately, I do not think it will fully work. I think Marie might actually hurt Homelander for a second, and that would be insane because imagine Homelander's reaction when someone like Marie actually makes him bleed. And he's like, wait, what? I have V1, but I can actually still be hurt? But then the V1 might kick in, maybe his blood is just too altered for her to manipulate, and that is the moment when Marie realizes, okay, this is over for me, I am going to die. And that is why I think Marie could die. Obviously, I don't really want her to die, but if the show wants to prove that Homelander is on a completely different level now, I feel like killing Marie would just be a good way to do it. Because also, she is not just a random soup anymore after Gen V Season 2. Now next we have the scene of the boys' crew walking into a building without Frenchie, and this is one of those trailer shots that fans have been staring at because the absence of Frenchie is very noticeable. You see the crew walking together, but Frenchie is not there. And because episode 7's title directly mentions Frenchie, Kimiko, and Mother's Milk, fans are already theorizing that it is at least one of them to die in episode 7. And right now, a lot of people think it is Frenchie. And I can see why. Frenchie dying would make a lot of sense for where his character is emotionally. Frenchie has always had guilt deep down, as seen in season 4. He carries the weight of his past, the people he hurt, and the people he failed. He always wants to be better, but he never fully believes he deserves a happy ending, and that makes him such a perfect candidate for a sacrifice. I think if Frenchie goes out, it will be while saving the boys, or more specifically, saving Kimiko. Because even though they broke up, that relationship is clearly not emotionally over. You do not want to build Frenchie and Kimiko for multiple seasons, then break them up for no reason. You want the show to pull them apart for a real reason. And that would also explain why the boys are walking into that building without him. Or maybe this is before his death, and Frenchie is somewhere else setting up the plan, which could also make the trailer shot misleading, but who knows? Now, here are my predictions for the last 2 episodes. I think in episode 7, Homelander will go on a complete killing spree, just killing everybody in sight, killing all the Starlight believers, and maybe just innocents too, just because he really can at this point. Then the boys will try to think of some plan, and I feel like definitely one of the boys will 100% die in episode 7. And then in episode 8, dare I say it, brother, I think after the big final fight in episode 8, Homelander will win.